Hello and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my buddy Gregoire with us from Merrimack Valley Wi-Fi Pros. Good morning, Rod. How you doing?
Good, Kevin. Thanks for having me on again.
So, Rod, today I want to talk about common mistakes. And after a minute, I was thinking of you this morning. I remember when we first got internet at the house. The big debate is, where are we putting that ugly router? And I didn't know you back then, so I didn't know you have to look for an optimal spot. I thought throw it in the closet, under the bed, just any place that my wife didn't have to look at it.
Right.
That might be my first mistake.
Yeah, that's definitely a mistake. Everybody makes this mistake. A lot of times people put the router at one end of the home, in a corner, behind the TV, right? And so behind the TV, it works really well. But the TV's in the way, and TVs are a big problem if you're behind it with your router. The ideal place to put it is in the exact center of your home, hanging from the ceiling. And if your ceilings are high enough, you might not bump your head. But you want to find someplace in between those two places that's more or less central in your home, and hopefully not too exposed. And that's what you want to do. You don't want it in the corner on one end of the house, because it'll only cover a portion of the house. As I've said before, the effective range is 15 to 20 feet. And if you put it behind a TV, it might be less than 15 feet.
Wow.
And so, you want to find a good spot that, covers, get the most coverage out of it for your home, really. So that's a common mistake. Yes.
So I think the second mistake that I've made is thinking I'm special, because I do think I'm special. And, it's like, okay, but Rob, I work from home and sometimes I'm uploading files. And there's many nights where I'm on the couch watching Netflix on my tablet and laptop and phone, maybe all three of them. So obviously I need a super fast connection to be able to do that, right? Maybe paying?
Well, first off, you are definitely special, Kevin. So
my mama was right.
So everybody thinks, oh, I need more and more speed. And well, when you look at the actual numbers, you don't need that much speed. If you're watching TV, a 4K TV is going to use at most 20 megabits per second. Your iPad's probably more like 5 megabits per second, and your phone might be 2 or 3 megabits per second, all watching the same stuff, because the resolution shrinks down on each of those devices, right? And so so now if you were doing all three, well, maybe you'd be up as high as 35 megabits. Double it just for safety reasons, and you're up to 70 megabits. Well, you can hardly get a program from the ISPs that's less than 300 megabits today, and they want to sell you a gigabit, and they're prepping you for 10 gigabit, right? That's, they're prepping you for that for your home. In fact, you can buy routers. If you get a router from Verizon today, a new Fios router, it comes with a 10 gigabit port on it for your home. So, will you ever need that? Well, maybe someday we'll need that, but we don't really need anything like that right now. Or, like I said, 300 megabits is sort of the minimum bar now for an ISP, and that's more than almost anybody needs for their home.
So last thing I think is a mistake is people who are fortunate enough to be able to build a home. They think of Wi-Fi after the fact, after the walls are up, after everything's installed. Makes sense to talk to someone like you. Okay, where should we put everything? Make sure we have all the connections we need, so we don't have to start ripping through walls again.
Oh yeah, this is a huge one, and I'll tell you about a little home in a second. It's a huge one because when people build, they build these homes. Either the builder's building it and then selling it to them after the fact, like with a tear down and a rebuild, or they're getting a new home. Even the architectural firms don't build in what the Wi-Fi should be. They don't. They should, but they don't. They build in the electrical plans, they build in the HVAC plans, the plumbing. That's all in your architectural drawings for a new home. But Wi-Fi is nowhere to be found yet, anyway. But what happens is the builder says, "Hey, well, what do you need? What do you think you need?" And so the person who's building the home says, "Well, I don't know. I want it So, well, he says, well, go talk. My electrician's done this for me for a lot of homes. Just talk to him. And I have nothing against electricians. They're great people, but it's an extremely rare electrician that knows networking at all, right? All they know is, well, I got to run some Cat5 cables. I'm going to throw up a couple of access points and boom, you're good. It's going to cover your home. Well, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes they stack them one on top of the other, because they put one on the first floor in the middle and they put one on the second floor in the middle. And that's kind of like a worst case scenario for Wi-Fi devices, stacking them on top of each other. But that's what they do because they're like, well, I'm just putting it in the middle and I'm trying to get the best. So they don't understand the technology. Like I don't understand a lot about electrical work, right? I don't do that.
Yep.
They don't understand networking. They shouldn't do that. They should bring in someone who knows what to do. And what we do is, we ask the customer, what is it you want to accomplish? Give us the floor plan for your home. We'll use our design tools to design out a network that covers your home with great high-speed Wi-Fi and meets all your other requirements for networking. And then you'll have an awesome home that's future-proof from whatever's coming down the line for Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi devices. That's what people should do. Almost no one does it. And just a case in point, I just picked up a customer down in the Newton Wellesley area, brand new home, kind of big, 8,000 square feet. There's Ethernet cable run all over the place on the second floor and a little bit in the basement and almost none on the first floor. And so now you're like, ooh, trying to figure out the placement for devices to cover that whole house is a real problem. And of course, they don't want devices sticking out all over the place in this house, right? They want them it's a real challenge. And so all could have been avoided, working with having the builder work with, like my company to say, where can we put these? They're out of the way. You'll never see them. It'll cover your whole home. It's costs almost nothing to have the electrician run the cables right from the get-go. You just, if we did a design for that home, it'd be perfect. It'd be awesome. Now I'm like struggling to find the right placement of devices in order to cover a house like that. And that's true, for many, that's a huge house, but it's true for a 2,000 square foot house or, all the way in between. So I run into that all the time.
All right. So those are mine. What did I miss? What other mistakes did people? Did I get them all?
Well, no. Well, you got the speed one.
Yep.
The second thing, big mistakes they do, everybody buys about a half a dozen pods and starts plugging them in all around their home. And they have great signal everywhere, but the performance is in the tank. And they're like, I thought it was better because they get connected, right?
Yeah.
But it performs. But in reality, the performance actually went down substantially everywhere in the home, most likely. So it's probably actually worse than they started with. It's no better, likely worse. That's a big one. The other thing is, they go to Best Buy and they talk to the kid at Best Buy and he gives them a recommendation, which if you're tech savvy and you understand networking and you can ask the right questions, it's a great way to go, right? And you're comfortable doing all the work yourself and you understand the pitfalls you might run into. But that's not most people. They just go, the kid at Best Buy says, buy these. These are great. And they go home and they're like, plug this in here. I guess I put these somewhere else. And then they're like, it doesn't really work, and what's I don't get it. And so that's, they sell a one size fits all solution, right? You show up, you ask for a question, you basically get the same answer no matter what your house has. We sell a custom solution for your home, depending on what its capabilities are. If you have coax cables, we can take advantage of those and build a really sweet network. If you have Ethernet cables, we can really make some hay. If you don't have any, we still know how to solve it. And typically the solution they sell won't solve it if you don't have some type of hardwired backbone. And so, but we can still solve those, so it's just you have to have the experience and the background in order to really solve it well. And that's what we do.
Makes sense. All right. What else did I miss?
Well, renovations are very much like new homes. You open up the walls, you got the perfect opportunity to do something, but typically you get it all done and then you're like, And then you call, can you come? Too late. Too late to get the really good solution. There's one other one, which is, and this happens, I get this all the time. People make this mistake all the time. They just give up. It's like the technology doesn't really work very well. I hate my provider. I hate the other provider too. It just doesn't work. They just give up. And so many of my customers have done that. They just give up on it. And then eventually, their kids are complaining so much about the Wi-Fi that all right, I'll call that guy. And they call me and I go and I make it work. And they're like, oh my God, I wish I would have done that 5 years ago. And
I agree with your point, Rod. I hear friends say that all the time. Well, the Wi-Fi is just really crappy in the second bedroom. They just accept it. Like, well, Rod, don't go in there with your phone to use the Wi-Fi. Go in the front bedroom, go with the other room. It shouldn't be the solution. Like when you're little and you're like, Mom, it hurts when I do this. Well, don't do that. It's the same mentality. Don't use the Wi-Fi. Well, but that is the room we use as an office, Rod. It's kind of important to have it there.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So how do people reach out to? How can they learn more if they have questions on any of this?
They can go to our website at www.mvwifipros.com, or they can just call us for a free consult at 978-577-5884.
Rod, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to come on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.